From the trip, take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Welcome back, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big game. Wherever there's a hangout, you'll find Spider-Man.
Hey everyone, it's me once again, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, welcoming you to Storytime with Spidey. We've been having a lot of fun with our time together, I think. And today, once again, it being Friday, I'm going to do something a little bit different than what you've gotten used to. Now, a few days ago, I talked to you about the wonderful world of comic books, the world that I came from. Before I was ever in TV or movies or video games or anything of that sort, before I was even a toy, I was in comic books. That's how I got my start. Like, we have this one here with a lovely painted cover by a very, very good artist named Alex Ross. But one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk to you about is that I'm obviously not the only superhero out there, and there's a lot of different comic books out, made by a lot of different people. For example, my comics, my stories, are made by a company called Marvel. Marvel owns my stories, and the stories of my friends, like the Avengers. You remember these guys. And also Black Panther, just to name a few. Of course, there's others like my friends, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. These are all people whose stories are told by Marvel. But you also have another big name company that you've probably heard of, DC. And DC is the ones that brought you Batman, along with his friends Superman, Wonder Woman, the people of the Justice League and the Teen Titans. They all come from DC. But there's also other people who make comics. Like, there's this one that I've always been pretty fond of. It's called Ant. This is made by what you call an independent publisher. Ant is kind of like me. She has the strength and abilities of a human-sized ant. And it's a fun story. I'd recommend checking it out. But I was talking to a friend of mine who also makes his own comic books. He has a printing company called Pyramid Comics, and he introduced this superhero, Night Shadow. Now, I know he looked kind of like a ninja, but that's not what his story's about. Now, I have not worked with the Night Shadow, but I wouldn't mind, except we operate in different cities. But today, I'm going to read you a little bit of his story in hopes that you'll get to like him as much as I do. Once I can get my spider stickiness under control. And here we see him fighting crime at night in an alley. Kind of like I do. And here we begin. We see this story taking place a long time ago, back in the days of queens and knights and things of that sort. And we have, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the world's first superheroes, the avatars of virtue. And here we have the avatar of fire, the avatar of the spirit, the avatar of sky, the avatar of lightning, the avatar of sight, and This guy, the Avatar of Shadow. These are 7 like-minded individuals, each with their own unique power, unique meaning that is different from everybody else's. They banded together to protect mankind against stuff like this, basically. Here you see we have monsters attacking all sorts, and human soldiers helping them. Now you're probably wondering what any of this has to do with anything going on in the here and now. But if this battle and several others like it had not taken place, and these 7 people not emerged victorious, meaning they won, they came out on top, good for them. But if that hadn't happened, the world of today would be a dark, desolate place. No cell phones or celluloid, no microchips, microwaves, or minivans. None of the things you and I take for granted, meaning that we've gotten used to it and just gotten comfortable with having it. And you, if you even existed, would probably be a slave. Your every word, thought, and deed dictated by the whims of this man. Madir is his name. Ooh, definitely a bad guy. Looks pretty scary. I wouldn't want to go up against him. At least not alone. He's a bad dude. Makes Darth Vader look like Clay Aiken, or so I'm told. But that's not why I'm showing you this. Now, when I say this, I'm speaking as the narrator, the Night Shadow, not as Spidey. But this is my story. This is about getting you to understand me a little bit. We'll get to who I am in a minute. For I am the guardian of this fair city. I am called the Night Shadow. Or at least I will be after tonight. Well, that or the Blue Ninja. Which is not entirely correct, because I'm not a ninja. Not an assassin of any kind. Now, an assassin is basically someone who goes out and kills people because he's told. And that's not what this guy is about. That's not what he does. And this is here. While this may look like your typical tale of good guy in tights beats up the bad guys, that's not what this is about. Although I am a good guy, I am wearing tights, as you can see. Although I don't know why he's so hung up on wearing tights, I find them quite comfortable. And I am here to beat up on bad guys. Like these guys down here. Yeah, they look like as good a place to start as any. So here we see the poor lady getting her purse yanked, and when she tries to fight back, they get rough with her. We can't have that. That goes against the superhero code to allow that to happen. And so here our hero drops in to save the day, or night as we'd have it. And like me, he's kind of the wisecracking sort. Because when he drops in, the first thing he says is, I swear you guys have got to be the worst pickup artists ever. Modern women don't go for all this macho aggressiveness. Try speed dating next time. I love that. The guy is pretty clever and witty as he goes about stopping the bad guys. He goes on to say, you know, you guys are making this way too easy for me. I mean, I'm trying to establish a rep here. And then we have the one thug running up on him and saying, that's it, you fruity little son of a... But he doesn't get to finish because Night Shadow stops him and says, hey, language! There's a lady present, daggone it! He doesn't like bad language. But now, because he's winning, one of them doesn't like where this is going, grabs the girl and pulls out a gun. most criminals we find are cowards, and they're quick to do that when things don't go their way. Then he gets to talking about this guy, the Avatar of Shadow from the old group. And he says, you remember this guy? And he had some amazing powers. Strength, speed, stamina, which means that he can go really far without getting tired. And he can command shadows. He can actually turn shadows into solid objects. Now our hero, Night Shadow, will ask, how do I know all of this? Well, that's simple. I have all of his powers. He can do the same things that that guy in the hood can do. You see? He's also a really good fighter. He's quick and he's strong. Kind of like me. But then he says, I have all of the same powers as that man. And up until very recently, I had absolutely no desire to use them. That's the fascinating thing about him, is that when I got my powers, I wanted to use them to benefit me. Other guys get theirs and they really think about what they can do for others. But this guy didn't want any of that. He just wanted a normal life. But sometimes that's just not the way it works. Like I always say, with great power comes great responsibility. And when you ignore your responsibilities, well, that really makes you no better than the bad guys that I fight against. Sometimes you need to put some good out into the world just because the world needs it. You can understand that, right? Well, that's all the time that we have for today. If you want to know more about this cool guy, Night Shadow, I would suggest talking to your moms and dads to see if they can link you to the guy who tells his stories. Remember, that's at Pyramid Comics. So, until next time, Excelsior!